Welcome to Wealth Empowers with Dr. G and Kevin Lawrence. I'm Kevin Lawrence in studio with my dad, Dr. Gary Lawrence, and we are a father-son team dedicated to helping you create your new financial future today. Dr. G and I believe there is a solution to your financial situation. And on this show, we talk about creating wealth with powerful principles and practical application for today's world. You can find the radio show on iTunes. Catch us there. Follow us on Facebook. Also, you could subscribe to our YouTube channel or go direct to our website, wealthempowers.com. But as you listen today, we hope you'll be entertained, educated, and encouraged. So glad you're riding along with us. So before we jump right into today, it's important to ask yourself this question. What important changes must I make now in order to change my financial direction? What important changes must I make now in order to change my financial direction? See, this question focuses on both the immediate and the future. See, by making changes in your financial direction today, then you can change your financial destination in the future. Now, Dad, it really does become easy to get caught up with the circumstances of today so much that we lose sight of the future. But it's important that we know what decisions we have to make so we can change our direction.
Right. And you, Kevin, the truth is no matter your age, I've got a news flash for everybody.
Okay.
The future is coming.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely.
And, I'm almost 75 years old. And just yesterday, your mother and I were talking, and I looked at her. I said, honey, I didn't know that getting old was going to come so fast. It's amazing. And at our local team of real estate investors, we have people in their 20s, mid-20s, early 30s who are preempting that change. They're not going to wait for circumstances to get better. They're not going to wait till everything's just perfect. They're going to create that change, And the bottom line is, if you don't create the change you want, I'll guarantee you this, the change is going to create you.
Mm-hmm. So you got to start making those decisions today.
Right. And we have a man live in the studio with us that we've become dear friends with over the last 8 to 9 years. Successful entrepreneur, franchise owner, went through bankruptcy, lost his businesses. But there's one of my favorite verses of Scripture. Says, yea, though a man shall fall, a righteous man fall, he shall yet rise 7 times. So the question is not how many times you have fallen. The question is how many times have you gotten up?
Right.
And he is a highly respected and dearly loved leader in our local team of investors here. And I'm just going to bring him on. Bill Predebon, it's a joy to have you in the studio with us.
Well, thank you very much. It's an honor and a privilege to be here, guys. It's great to see you.
And Kevin and I on this program with Wealth Empowers to reach out to our listeners and let them know that they can change their financial future and they can create the financial platform that they control. And it's through our educational system, Renatus, which is the premier real estate investing education service in America. Am I exaggerating that they have the ability to change their circumstances and control their financial platform?
Not at all, especially if what I like to say, people put themselves in the right environment for that to happen, to just find the right vehicle, if you will, and I believe that we've got that here.
Well, you're a living testament to that, Bill. Give our audience an overview of where you were and what you went through and where you are now.
Thank you very much. As you mentioned, I was a franchise owner, right? I used to own 4 Play It Again sports stores in my 30s, in my early 30s. When I was 30 years old, I bought into my first store. And, I played sports my whole life, so it came naturally to me to sell sporting goods. I didn't know much about business. I didn't study business in school, but I had that drive, right, like a lot of people do.
Sure.
And, as I started getting into the stores and having a few partners, some opportunities came up and some desire to have more came up, and I decided to buy out a couple of partners. And, I'll tell you what happened is what you don't know and what you're not, when you don't have the right knowledge and you don't have the right path.
You don't know what you don't know.
It's incredible. And it cost me. It cost me my business. I paid too much. I bought too fast. I undercapitalized myself. I overestimated a lot of things. And as hard as I worked and as much as I knew about the stores and the sales and all that stuff, it doesn't overcome that.
And as you're sharing that, Kevin, I was just thinking right there, some of our listeners may say, okay, well, that disqualifies me listening to Bill Predebon because he didn't know what he was doing, and he failed at that. But I'm encouraging our audience, keep listening. You will not believe what this man has accomplished in the last 8 years.
I appreciate that. And it's not just for anybody out there who just has a business. It could be, whatever career they're in, whether they went to school and got good grades and got a job and it's not working out the way they want, and they're starting to look, like you said earlier in the program, down the future. It could be business owners. It could be just people starting their first business or just studying a trade and doing this trade. And when you don't know what you don't know, like we said, it really can affect your life. And so, when I started looking at the writing on the wall, a lot of folks that I talked to, it's interesting. I didn't know this, but most of the wealthy people made their money and hold their money in real estate. I didn't know that.
Right. Yeah.
So I started asking people, "What do you do?" I'm in a sinking ship, and I don't really want to be in retail my whole life. It's not going what I thought. And they said, "You should get into real estate. You should get in real estate." So once again, when I got out, I got in.
Right.
So I got out of being a homeowner, a business owner, like we said, and I ended up. I'll tell you, I ended up filing bankruptcy on the advice of my attorney.
Right.
Again, I didn't know what I didn't know. I would have looked back and go, maybe that wasn't as great an idea as it sounded at the time, and I found myself with no credit. Upside down in my first property that I ever owned, which was my primary residence at the time. I just made a lot of mistakes in buying my first house and listening to what everybody was doing. It was a really hot market back then, and so people started talking about getting into real estate. So, I got a job as a loan officer.
Well, and right there, Bill, people think, well, if I want to, quote, get into real estate, whatever that is, invest, well, I should be a realtor or a loan officer
or a mortgage broker.
Yeah.
You're absolutely, that's what I thought.
Yeah,
I didn't
that's
know
just
anything,
what you
right?
do. Yeah.
So I got my job as a loan officer in 2006, was what thought would have been a good time, but to learn the curve and stuff. And I realized I wasn't making as much money. Banks were closing faster than my loans.
Right.
So I'm like, well, I'll get a job. I'll get my real estate license, and I'll learn to do real estate that way. And sure enough, that was 2007. When everybody was running for the hills, I was diving into this real estate thing, thinking that was what people had told me was where to make money.
Boy, your learning curve was sure getting steep, wasn't it? You were learning how to fail with the best of them.
There's no question.
When did the Renatas come in?
Well, I'll tell you. So and I recommend this book to everybody. And I don't even read. We joke about this, but I don't even know how to read. But I read Rich Dad Poor Dad in 2 days, and it changed my whole perspective. I was like, wow. Well, I had loan officer experience, and I was involved with this woman who had good credit and had a house, and I thought, this is what we're going to do, honey. We're going to refinance your house. We're going to negatively cash flow it. It's not going to be a problem because it's going to go up in value, and then we're going to buy this bigger house with your money and your credit, 100% financing, because I know how to get that done.
Yeah. And
I'm going to be a licensed agent, so we're going to get the commission, get it back on the house, and everything's going to be great. And in 2 years, we're going to sell it, both houses, and we're going to be financially free. That was spring of 2007.
Yep.
By the time the ink dried, that I encouraged my, at the time, girlfriend to use her credit and her money and everything to get this done. We were upside down in her name, another $350,000.
Yeah. Well, it was like March 1, the entire market here in Arizona came to screeching halt.
Yeah.
Just stopped and fell off a cliff.
And I was still diving in when the water was dissipating, right? And going head first. And I didn't only do it for myself. I did it for somebody. I did it with somebody else and caused her a situation where it really turned bad for us in 2007.
So where did the Renatas come in?
Gary, thanks. I'll tell you, I didn't give up. I knew that real estate was where I wanted to go. I knew real estate was where people made money, and I started looking. And I was given the opportunity at the end of 2007 to take a look at this information. What people are hearing today from you guys spreading this word, I was offered the opportunity to take a look at the Renatas opportunity with the education and the services that they provide. And I'll tell you, when I saw it, I was not in a good position to get started.
Yeah. And, well, a lot of people aren't, in a position to get started. A lot of people are. But what was it about what you saw that got you excited and thought, I could do this?
You know what I saw is people like you guys. I saw the community. I saw a group of investors working together. And we talked about this earlier in the show, right? I saw an environment where I could succeed, where people had gone down the path of the wealthy and had started to already do the things that I was looking to do that I didn't know how to do. Right. So not only was I going to have this great reference of a library of reference, but I was going to have people like Gary and Kevin and all of the investors in the group that have been doing flips, been doing buy and holds, been doing investing, learning financial literacy strategies and things like that. And they were going to also help me succeed. And that's what I saw, Kevin.
Right. And over the years, you've helped others succeed. You may not have thought about that at that time, but every time someone gets plugged in our community, they have a set of skills and strengths to help us.
You're listening to Wealth Empowers with Dr. G and Kevin Lawrence. And Bill Predebon is our live guest in the studio today. And ladies and gentlemen, we are all about helping you come to the realization that you can create a financial platform that you control. What I'd like to do is extend to you my personal invitation to be our guest at our business forum this week right here in the Valley. What is a business forum? Well, it's a business event. It's not a boring meeting, I'll tell you that. You're going to learn about real estate investing as it really is in Arizona today. You're going to learn about Renatus, the premier real estate investing education system in America. You're going to meet our local team of investors, just men and women like yourself, that have said, you know what, I'm going to invest in my future, and I'm going to change my financial fortunes. There's no cost to you. And by the way, I tell everybody, leave your checkbook and your credit cards at home. You're not going to buy anything. Why is that? Well, we're not going to sell you anything. We're just going to get acquainted. We're going to take it one step at a time. If you'd like to be our guest, you're going to have to call, and I'll give you our phone number in a second. But I want you to know when you call, you're get a voice message. So for your sake, leave me a message with your name and phone number, and I promise you I will return the call personally. All right, here's our phone number. It's 602-730-5645. That's 602-730-5645. Or visit us at our website, Wealth Empowers. That's Wealth, W-E-A-L-T-H, Empowers, E-M-P-O-W-E-R-S, wealthempowers.com. Bill Predebon's our guest. And Bill, I tell everybody there's two motivating forces that causes people to change their future. One of them is a situation of desperation. Another one's a situation of inspiration. Your situation of desperation turned into inspiration when you were introduced to Renatus. Am I right or right?
No, you're absolutely right. I was, and not everybody listening obviously is in that same position. That's
right.
Why you have both places from where
the economy's different today.
Yep. And so for me, it was a situation of desperation. But again, I knew that if I go back to a job, if I go back to, what I had known, I was only going to be where I was, and I wasn't going to get where I wanted to go. And so Renatus was sharing with me and showing me that there was something more and something better, exactly what I had heard.
Now, you've been with the Renatus education system a little over 8 years. You told us you came out of a deep hole. You were a franchise owner. You went backwards financially. Can you give us a synopsis of what you've been able to accomplish? How many deals have you done?
No, great question. Thanks, Gary. I'm glad I get to share this. I love being able to share what Renatus can do for not only myself, but what it does for so many people that I've met. When I got started with Renatus, that's exactly what I did, is I got started. That was just the beginning.
Right.
That was getting the knowledge, right? Going to the classes, listening, learning, hanging out with people. I started, I went to a couple of events, and I said, wow, this is really real, and it's really true.
I remember you and I got better acquainted when I went to one of your mastermind events.
We sure did, and yeah. I think I overpaid you on that event. No, that's a great story, and people
don't
hear
say that live on the radio.
Okay? And, since Renatus was 2008 when I really got started, and, in my first year, I was fortunate enough when everybody was running from real estate, I learned a strategy that enabled me to close 13 real estate transactions and make nearly, along with the business that I acquired, make nearly $190,000 that year. In 2007, I made $17,000 as a loan officer and a real estate agent.
You went from $17,000 to your first year at over $190,000.
Right.
And I'm sure learning how to become a real estate investor was all cupcakes and ding dongs, right? No problems.
Yeah, right. So
he's like, yeah, right.
You asked. So I've done about 100 plus or minus actual fix and flips, around 130 different real estate transactions since Renatus. Roughly 10 to 15 deals a year on average. And
now you're not just doing fix and flips. You've got buy and holds.
Correct.
And you've got some subject twos.
Yep.
That means where you take over the mortgage and Your agreement's subject to everything that you agree on.
Correct. And it's amazing that every possible acquisition and even exit strategy that is utilized in real estate today is taught by Renatus, and we learn that information. So there's all different opportunities that come our way when we start getting into real estate, just like in anything, right?
If you had to pick 2 or 3, I'm going to say high points about the Renatus Real Estate Investing Education System. I know we've got 29 practitioner real estate investors that are our instructors. That means we've got men and women who are out there walking the streets. That's what they do for their living. They're not some college professor standing behind a podium teaching someone how to do something they don't know how to do themselves. Okay?
Correct.
Well, what would be 2 or 3 of the high points that you would convey to our audience? What stands out in your mind about Renatus?
It's such a great question, Gary and Kevin, and I'll tell you what. I needed to make money, and so I learned from Chris Wilson. He's a local real estate investor,
Right.
been doing it almost 40 years, and he's one of our most sought-after investor practitioner instructors. And he taught me wholesaling, and Bob Snyder, the CEO, taught me negotiations, and I was able to wholesale my first deal in 6 weeks. But what I found, and this is what I'm getting to, is the most important part about Renatus is not making money, ordinary income. They're teaching owning a business that creates extra money at the end of the month. But most importantly, like your company, Wealth Empowers, they're teaching you to create wealth through buy and hold and through long-term investments, and learning how to invest your money for long-term and having 2 or 3 jobs with only having to work one. And so I've had the opportunity and the given the education and the opportunity to follow in other people's footsteps in this environment to have a fix and flip business. And then my wife and I now have 13 doors. We have over $1 million of equity in our properties. We are
Now wait a minute. You went from the downslide
Upside
8-9
down.
years ago, and today you own over $1 million in equity.
in equity.
Yeah.
In equity.
Over $6 million of real estate we own together. My wife and I, after getting out of those holes on those properties.
Would you say, because earlier, Bill, you said that as a business owner in your franchise, you didn't understand business the way you should have. Do you think through the Renatus education, you understand business better now than you did when you owned your stores?
I swear to God, Kevin, absolutely. It is almost as if I went and got a master's in business while I was studying real estate, and the two of them are so key. So in anything I do, I'm able to learn to create a financial future through business and real estate. And that's what the 1% wealthy do. We follow the path of the 1% wealthy, and then there's local guys like us and girls that are doing it and share it with the new folks.
Right.
And it's a yellow brick road to the financial freedom, you know?
Yeah. And that's the thing I want to get. And thanks for saying that, because Renatus just isn't teaching real estate investing. It's creating real estate investors.
Correct.
And if you don't understand the business component around your real estate investing, then you're at a high level of risk. So we also teach that. Here's how you build your business strategy and protect yourself.
And I love the way Bill said that, Kevin. You're on the yellow brick road with Renatus.
Yeah.
And that's not going to lead us to the Wizard of Oz either. Okay, that's a good word picture there, Bill. I'm going to come back in a minute. Now I'm going to ask you to speak from your heart to the heart of our audience.
Absolutely.
You're listening to Wealth Empowers with Dr. G and Kevin Lawrence, father and son team dedicated to helping you create a financial platform that you control. How are you going to do that? Through real estate. Because you can learn to control real estate and not let your circumstances keep controlling you. We're hosting an investor business forum this week, and I want you to be my personal guest. There's no cost. All you're going to have to do is call me, and I'll give you our phone number in a minute. What is a business forum? Well, it's an hour-and-a-half business event. It's not a boring meeting. You're going to meet a lot of wonderful people just like yourself, men and women, who said, you know what? I'm going to create my own economy. And they're going to learn how to do it through the Renatus Real Estate Investing Education System. Hey, you've got to leave your checkbook and credit cards at home. You're not going to be buying anything. So to make that happen, you have to call me. And I want you to know when you call, you're going to get a voice message. So for your sake, leave your name and phone number, and I will personally return the call. Are you ready to write down my phone number? It's 602-730-5645. That's 602-730-5645. Or visit us at our website, Wealth Empowers. That's WEALTH, Wealth Empowers, EMPOWERS, wealthempowers.com. Bill Predebon. Bill, our team loves you. You're highly respected, and we have a great time together. But I remember when you first started coming around our team, would you tell our audience what they're going to experience when they do show up as our guest?
Yes, absolutely, Gary, and I think it's just key, because we don't have an expectation, right? Or we do, and we don't even know what it looks like. And I'll tell you, I'm in business for myself.
Right.
But I'm absolutely not in business by myself.
Right.
With the Renatus community, what you and your wife Sylvia and now the rest of us have created here in Scottsdale Renatus is an opportunity to work together. And because of this system, I have all the support. If it's anything, it's a 7-course meal. It's everything you need to develop your real estate and business career. And that's what it's done for me. And because of that, because of this environment, I've raised almost $5 million of other people's money and partnered with, I don't even know, 50 or so people that I've met in the community over the last 10 years that I partner with on deals and do deals together. And that's where the money comes from. And then when my wife and I have extra funds, we put them into our long-term real estate. So, it's just the fact that they're going to be able to expect and see that there are people who care about them, people who are willing to share, a mindset of abundance, a mindset of sharing, and a community where you're not by yourself. You're everything you want and need, no matter what you want to feast on, is available to you with what we've created at Scottsdale Renatus.
Wow. And so that's the bottom line. You can create what you want to.
Absolutely.
And I say it like this. People do what they want to, nothing more, nothing less. And it's amazing to me how comfortable people become living paycheck to paycheck and how comfortable they become complaining about their circumstances, but never are willing to put forth the effort to make the change.
And we're willing as a group and as individuals to help them change that and get past that, right?
Right. They are, but they got to want it, man.
Yep.
Because, Bill, you wanted it. I wanted it. Gary wanted it.
Absolutely.
So you can be in the environment. But if you don't want that, what we can't do is we can't drag you along. But we'd be more than happy to come alongside you and help you get there.
Clear
if
the
you
path.
want it. Yeah,
Absolutely.
Well, I've heard it said people don't fail in life because they want too much. They fail in life because they settle for too little.
Yeah.
And when I was 64, almost 65, going through bankruptcy and foreclosure, even after a very successful 25-year career as a marriage and family counselor, I decided I'm not going to live on social insecurity.
Yep.
And I'm so grateful that I got involved in the Renatus real estate investing education system. It's changed my life tremendously.
People need to come meet you, Gary, and hear your story and see what you've been able to accomplish. And you're just an inspiration.
Well, Bill, if people want to talk to you personally, do I have your permission to give them your cell phone number?
100%. Both of you guys have my information. We're all friends
That's
here.
great. Ladies and gentlemen, you may say, well, Dr. G, you just don't understand the problems we're going through. Let me say something to you about your problems. When it comes to your problems, you can resist them, resent them, or you can rage about them. But here's what I suggest you do. Learn how to respond to the positive purpose of your problems. Maybe it's time for you to make a change. We're here to help you make that change. And I've heard it said that change, when left to chance, just gives birth to more conflict. And if you don't change, things are never going to change. But I guarantee you this, the only thing that won't change is the fact that things will change. So what's the bottom line? Are you ready? Either you make the change or the change is going to make you. You've got to stop being a victim of your circumstances. Become an intentional creator. Success has never been a destination. It's nothing more than a journey. And you can succeed. All that's ever been given to anyone else has been given to you. Now I want you to listen very carefully. Success has never been final. But failure's never been fatal. No one's ever died from failing. Okay? An investment in knowledge will pay you the best return on your investment. You are full of the power of success. The bottom line is, are you willing to create that success? Now, why do I say these things with such strong conviction? Because I've been there and I've done that. And I'm glad I decided to change my circumstances instead of waiting for my circumstances to change. I'm Dr. G.
It's been said, the best way to predict your future is to create it. No matter your circumstances, there is a solution to your situation. Dr. G and Kevin invite you to explore the possibilities of creating a new financial platform that you control and no longer allow yourself to be controlled by the circumstances of your life. Visit them at wealthempowers.com. That's WEALTHEMPOWERS.com. Come and meet Dr. G and Kevin at the Investor Business Forum. Oh, one last thought. Isn't it time for you to stop making a living and start making a life? Call Dr. G and Kevin at 602-730-5645. That's 602-730-5645.